course, qualification session does mean that you need to hard reset the game so that there's no old scores. And yeah, qual mode is not necessary. Just hard reset and make all the scores be 0. And I see readies by CYLER. JATI is changing the qual mode maybe. CYLER, everyone is ready. So I'm gonna say we will start the qualification session in 3. I'm actually also gonna do an exclamation mark in the chat, so it's gonna be a 3, 2, 1, Tetris. And the counter is going. We have a few good luck have funs in the chat, as well as a golf. Now the question is, do you mean the car or do you mean like the sport? There's many different kinds of golf that we could mean here, like talk about. But yeah, so actually I should, just to make sure, open a document to note down ANJING scores, so yeah, let's just do that so that I can note down ANJING scores. I'm not sure nesttwist.org does score stuff for the other players. I can see it at the scoreboard. ANJING, I have no idea due to my limited experience using nesttwist.org. I know how nesttwist champs works and that's it. On nesttwist champs you don't have a scoreboard. I assume it's gonna be the same here for nesttwist.org, but I'm not fully sure. Also nice penalty for ANJING, getting the Tetris now. There we have 69, 74, 1, 17, 28. So only CYLER is behind currently. But he also has played the fewest lines, which means this should be totally fine. And we have just started the qualification anyways. There's 30 minutes, which is enough for a few full games. So full game means, to me, up until level 29, because from that point onwards, like the 29 speed is just too unreliable for me to be like, yeah, okay, full game is up until level 39, unless we are talking about the highest level, which is like CTL, honestly tier 1, even tier 2, I'd argue. Level 39 doesn't happen often enough to be like, yeah, that's a full game. And I, of course, might also be a bit biased as someone who is, let's say, mainly active in the death scene. Yeah, again, just my personal opinions here. We see CYLER stream having some slight issues here, but especially in the qualification session, it doesn't really matter if there's a few seconds lost. Yes, let's take an extra look at the players here. As we can see, ANJING and LOKENZE are playing the full game here. At least so far, both have played about 59s, whereas both JATI and CYLER have restarted their games. So they are much earlier on here. And it looks like to me CYLER didn't flip the LPs here, so he has to burn a bit now. If he had flipped it, there would have been longer dependencies, so both options weren't perfect. It's just that one led to immediate burns, but the other led to a bar dependency. Both does work quite nicely, and JATI is playing quite aggressive here on level 18, as you can see. But he's managing to get the pieces to where they need to go. And yeah. And the qualification, he also can play quite aggressive here for a couple of reasons. First of all, of course, there is no penalty for not performing too well. He plays a bit lower in the ceiling, but that's it. Unlike other events where you might not even make it into the bracket at all. So you don't have to, you know, play perfect games here to qualify. You can just be like, okay, happens. And the other reason, of course, is, yeah, it's just qualification. Even if you don't perform the most amazing games ever, this is not about how you perform in the tournament, like the playoffs later, and just how you will enter them. If you look at CYLER side, we can see a bit of cleanup that is coming up here. Yes, getting the first few pieces to start the cleanup, and is mostly out of it, just a bit on the right side. Okay, did get the blue piece a bit too far, which means there's a bit of cleanup that CYLER needs to do. But like once again. Whereas at the top we have two players, being ANJING and LOKENZE, who are quite close to the transition, also quite close in score, 44-455. So these players are not playing the same score, and still are in quite similar positions, at least point-wise, at the amount of lines that they have played. Which just shows you that they might actually be evenly matched here. Can't be too sure, of course, but just a wild guess is, could be. Okay, qualification transition. Up there's coming up in around about 10 lines or 3 Tetrises. Where CYLER still in a troublesome position, but looks like the current score is good enough for CYLER to keep on playing. CYLER currently at 237 and 86 lines. Not perfect, but acceptable so far. And JATI is at 313 and 90 lines, so JATI is a bit above in terms of pace here. Should place him a bit earlier, like the higher in the bracket. Oh yeah, so ANJING and LOKENZE both getting a 600k transition in. Amazing scores here for these two players. Basically exactly where you want to be. Yeah, LOKENZE just closed the world here and misdropped that bar, early flipped it. Left side basically inaccessible. So first score by LOKENZE on the scoreboard is gonna be a 632. Which means to CYLER and JATI, they wanna get at least a 633 now in order to guarantee not being in last place for now. Because we don't know what will happen later on as these players, like all of them, still have about 23 minutes left, which is about 3 full games. Yeah, ANJING also got about 100k now on transition in the first few levels. Ooh, that TPs, but getting a Tetris in, nice. So just a bit more burning and cleanup to do for ANJING. Should be low enough in the board. At the bottom, CYLER needed a bar to get a triple in. Didn't get the bar in time, which means the burning is now a bit prolonged. While JATI so far, yeah, it's in quite a clean situation. But man, we can also see 30 minutes qualifications are so short. Normally you're like 8 minutes are over, totally fine, doesn't matter too much. But now it's like 8 minutes are over, so we have 22 minutes left. And it was just nearly a third of how much you're gonna play. It's like a sixth basically. Yeah, and ANJING topping out at, okay, now I'm gonna note that down, 823, 380. I'm keeping manual note of your scores because I don't know how nesttwist.org works, so I just have a small document open where I'm keeping track of your scores here, ANJING. Oh yeah, JATI is gonna top out here at 649 for 650 basically. But is currently in seed 2. And thanks for submitting the score in chat as well, ANJING. Oh, CYLER getting the OPs over here on level 19. That's gonna be deadly. Yeah, looks like CYLER stopping out at 577. So for now in the last seed. Qualification always is nice to get like a first impression of how the players will perform that specific day. Especially, you know, when the playoffs are happening at the same day as the qualification. Because we can just see, hey, what players are performing well on 18 and 19. Who can even play a bit of level 29. 30 minutes of basically uninterrupted play are generally just a bit nicer, in my opinion, compared to how it is in many online tournaments where you have, for example, ranked based on your performance in the last tournament, or like Edo, for example, and based on that, or then, you know, just playing weeks after your quote-unquote qualification, which didn't even really happen. So you don't have a, okay, this is how the players perform that day in depth as you have here. Of course, qualification doesn't really mean that much because strategies can shift, but I'd argue especially the 18 performance on during qualifications is quite representative of what it's during the actual matches. And it's mostly the higher speeds where it can differentiate, like just in terms of aggression. In qualifications, you probably will play 19 more aggressive than you would during competitive, for example. Just to guess on my side, I of course can't speak for all of the players, as everyone does play differently. And yeah, we can see that LOKENZE is close to transitioning into 19 and could once again be more or less a 600k if LOKENZE doesn't have to burn a single line here. Yeah, okay, so here's Tetris number 1. 579, could barely get to the 600, but does burn instead. Was the smarter decision, 580. But he has a strong opening by LOKENZE on 18, getting 2 transitions back to back at about 600k. We had 600 and 580 just. So strong showing there of LOKENZE. Definitely someone you wanna be watching during the matches. But ANJING so far got the highest score, about 200k higher than what LOKENZE got. So ANJING's 18 looks quite nice, and the 19 looked stronger than LOKENZE's as well. Let's see if LOKENZE can redeem themselves here. Once you get 800k plus, optimally of course you wanna go get like a max out. Max out don't happen too regularly. And welcome in the chat, JATI. Yeah, saying exclamation mark CTQuickly. The bot is explaining it, but basically it's about a 2-hour tournament where you have a 30-minute qualification session and then the playoffs. It's nice as it's a one and done event. You don't have to be like CTL or CTM and watch for weeks. And it also doesn't take too long, like 2 hours, quite doable for most players, I'd say. Especially as you have at least about half an hour break during the semifinals. Or are we gonna play the semifinals at once? Actually, I didn't think about it that. There's actually, I don't know what's officially planned. Rain just was like semi-finals, that means we're gonna play single field. But we have a 4-player match scene, so I guess the semi-finals are gonna be played at the same time. So I'm gonna take back that you have a small break. And yeah, okay. Yeah, you don't have a break. Just have to double check that we're gonna play them at the same time. Yes, LOKENZE is now level 26 at 892, so LOKENZE could get the first max out of the qualification session. And talk about the qualification session. The qualification session is about halfway done. There's 15 minutes and a few seconds left, so half of qual is done. You can get about 2 more full games in. And let's see if LOKENZE can get the max out here. Getting the next Tetris into max out for LOKENZE. Max out. And now, of course, also trying to go for the 1.1. But can't Tetris into 29. The bar also not arriving when fully needed, but here's one more. A4, A48. And summer burns here on LOKENZE's side in level 29, now level 30. This is nice gameplay that LOKENZE is showing us. Showing us how to survive the 29 kill screen speeds. Sadly, the bar didn't go over. Amazingly well played here by LOKENZE. Shoutouts to the performance here. And demonstrating what they can do. So yeah, GG's on this qual. And Mace also saying, let's go. They're saying, nice Witz by JATI. Honestly, Witzes happen so often I don't pay too much attention to them nowadays. Like, I still do, but not be like nice Witz every single time, I will admit. And LOKENZE saying, gonna take a moment. Yeah, of course, take a, a few minutes to take a break, go to the toilet, drink a bit, whatever you wanna do. This looks like it could secure your first spot. So far only ANJING, I believe, got close to your score. Actually, I should enter that into the high score. And yeah, it's average of 1. I should do no. 8, 2, 3, 380. I'm gonna do it manually then. Okay. Oh yeah, and LOKENZE, I noted it down on my own sheet basically. I just forgot to put it into the high score as well. Now I'm just gonna keep track of the scoreboard. Sometimes it's interesting, sometimes it's not. Just a bit of statistics. But yeah, we can see the high score now and have the current seeding be LOKENZE, ANJING, JATI, CYLER. And Priest Washer saying, hey gamers. Oh no, just hey gamer. Only talking to one of us. But hey, back to you. As you can see, we are just in the qualification, which is also close to being done. And afterwards we'll have the playoffs. First the semi-finals and then the finals. Okay, LOKENZE doing a 19 start. ANJING high and probably topping out. Yeah. And Beastwash is asking all 4 rollers, right? Nope. I believe that CYLER should be a hyper tapper, for example. Also do the exclamation mark profile for them, so that you know their stats. It's ANJING domain Tetris, because the profile generally does have everything that you need, like what they play, scores, and so on. And that's for Yati, it was Poland Yati, I believe. Yep. Oh no, okay, perfect. We have all of that here, so you can check out the playstyle for at least some of them. Looks like CYLER Yati hasn't set the playstyle, for example. But you're definitely not all rollers. But you don't have to roll to play well. Like, sometimes even a desk player can beat a roller. The main difference is just, I would like, not that the playstyle is better, but that they have different strengths, basically. Of course, if you talk about rolling versus tapping, then it can be like, yeah, rolling is just a much better tapping. But especially if you have like desk versus rolling, for example, it's just completely different how like different string playstyles exist and all of that good stuff. But yeah, so 9 minutes left, which means a full game and some change. And of course, once the timer's over, you can play your current game to the end, which means if you can get, let's just say, max out in the next 8 minutes and 30 seconds, you can start one more game and get a second max out. Maybe not realistic, but that's just what you can, in theory, do here. But yeah, LOKENZE also going back to level 18 starts here in the core. 19 didn't work out too nicely, and later in the playoffs you of course need a ton of 18 as well, as 18 is the only allowed starting level during playoffs. So in the playoffs it's a best of 5 18 starts in the semifinals and finals. And potentially the small final for place 3 as well. At least if the players want to play it. I won't force them to anything. I just personally like the match for place 3 quite a lot. But yeah, I have no idea how the players feel about it. Especially in that exact moment. Like maybe you're frustrated with your performance that you had earlier. So yeah, we will decide that on the fly. Next Tetris here going to ANJING. And ANJING is the closest to getting a 19 transition once again. Score definitely not as high as it was before. At least before the transition. You know, the high score can be improved massively. You can get over 700k on level 19. So if you transition at, 500k is realistic. You can still get a max out. So ANJING doesn't really have anything to worry about here. Yeah, so CYLER and JATI. Especially CYLER wants to get in one more good game here. Bit under 600k is his current score, and he wants 652 or higher in order to get seed 3. Of course, seed 1 will play against seed 4. So currently, CYLER would be facing LOKENZE here. And being able to face seed 3 instead is just gonna make winning the first match more likely. Or maybe at least winning a few games so that you don't get swept. Because you always wanna play like an opponent closer to you. Or maybe even underneath you, of course, if you wanna win. Like for a good match, you wanna get someone who is close to your skill level and your performance of that specific day. And maybe even time. Like for some players, they perform wildly differently if there's like a few hours between now and when they play. And of course, as Nightbot is saying, find Classic Tetris Network everywhere at linktree/Classic Tetris Network, CTN are capitalized. Yeah, feel free to check out all of, I guess now I should say our socials, which I believe include the Instagram, the YouTube, Discord, PDP, I believe as well, like specifically that. A few videos apparently also on the Linktree. Yeah, so definitely check out CTN. And JATI did a 19 start here. 19 can be nicer as it's a bit quicker, so you can get deeper into the game before this in a shorter time, so you can decide quicker if it's a game you wanna go on or like restart. Which does make sense. Now if you look at ANJING's side, you can see current score 755 could top his current top score. And let's see if he will be able to, just a few K away. And the next even triple would do it. And here's the Tetris and new high score for ANJING, as CYLER is still fighting up quite high here. Is getting the first burn. Oh, nice. This is amazing survivor that CYLER is showing us. Staying calm, getting the pieces to where they need to be, opening up the well and now wanting the next bar. Getting the bar over, Tetris to CYLER. Amazingly well played. Feel free to give him a round of applause here. And ANJING looks like he could be max outing this game. It's at 950 and 215 lines, which means there's 15 lines or about 4 Tetrises to go before the transition into 29. And max out definitely possible. 1.1 if played perfect, which yeah, no longer is the case. And then also some 29, so as a tapper I would say not too lively. But we just had max out for ANJING, which means it is now an A43 192. So A43 192. Second max out of the day, as we have 2 more minutes to go. I repeat, 2 more minutes to go before the last qualification game will have to be started. Here LOKENZE saying, sheesh, let's go. ANJING saying, max out 16, bruh. Yep, GG's on your max out. Amazingly well played here. LOKENZE saying, got too distracted by watching you, so I topped out. Hey, it's valid. I mean, you are still in Siege 1, so it's not like you lost anything. Yeah. A6, A4, and then 2 in the 500, 600k area. As you can say, I think it's 1 match on scene. What You mean the semi-finals? I'm not fully sure what you mean here, Anjing. LOKENZE is saying, yeah, I stopped, haha. Yeah, makes sense. I mean, if you're free to play, you can still get in one more game. If you're free to just stop and, you know, get a bit calm before the playoffs. Okay, it looks like we're gonna have LOKENZE versus CYLER, as well as ANJING versus JATI. ANJING saying CYLER please do better than JATI. Could be possible, we will see. I mean, he is. Oh no, the bar for CYLER. Okay, I mean, he's cleaning that up, but still. No, the JPs. Once ANJING started to talk about CYLER starts to get into trouble here. Still solvable. Yeah, nice cleanups, but hangs an SPs and then an OPs. So CYLER tops out at 572. Just under getting a high score in. And now it's Yati's turn to try to get a higher score in. 651 and 616. Like 651 being the high score. And also the timer is now over. You can see saying nah, stream delay TRBF. Okay, I don't understand that. Like, there wasn't any weird... Oh, you mean on CYLER's side. Oh. Yeah, CYLER's game is to date. So CYLER, your game is out. I forgot to mention that the qualification session is over. Yeah, it's only Yati who's still going. And Yati got his new highest spend, but he still needs like 300k to get above ANJING here. So can he saying it outsider he's getting robbed? I mean, if all other competitors are fine, I'm fine with having CYLER here play as well. I'm not like, this has to be the end. But yeah, officially qual time was over when he started, so... If you ask me, it's over, but if you and ANJING and Yati agree, we can definitely let him play one more game here. I was saying how this ain't CT12. I mean, yeah, this isn't CT12. But... Okay, so Snakes also saying we do things quickly. Yeah, I mean, I would, as I said, I would just say, yeah, it's over. So, I said before time on my side, oh, yeah, also makes sense. It's tough, but actually, what are the rule sets on level choice? I haven't seen them before. Or at least I don't remember them about the qualification levels. But yeah, anyways, looks like we are over with the qualification session for now. And while we don't have a slide to show the ranking, it is LOKENZE, ANJING, Yati, and CYLER. I'm gonna get players ready here so that they are properly prepared. So we have ANJING versus Yati. Wouldn't it be easier? I'm thinking about what's the easiest. It doesn't really matter. It's just Yati into CYLER, and then also CYLER into JATI. I mean, that sounds weird if I phrase it like that, but just replacing them. And also the names, as we have for player names, V is now JATI and 4 is now CYLER. So the player names are set up correctly. And we can switch. Oh. Yeah, I still need to activate or like change the. Yeah, this should not be right. ANJING, LOKENZE, JATI. Ah, shoot. Ah, shoot, I'm stupid. Ah. No. I of course need to put JATI into place into 203. Huh. LOKENZE, I'm just too stupid to do scheduling apparently. Yeah, it's 1v4, 2v3. Yeah, totally my fault. I apologize for that. Okay, so 3 is LOKENZE. 2 is JATI. Okay, now we have ANJING versus JATI and LOKENZE versus CYLER. Yeah, this is how it's now. Okay, perfect, perfect. So I don't know if you want any break before starting the next game. If you want to kind of like, let's say until 55. And once it is 55, we can start the semifinals. Or we can just start now. I don't know if you want to drink a bit, go to the toilet, stuff like that. I'm gonna leave that up to the players. So please step in if you want a small break or if you can just start the playoffs. And yes, CYLER, I'm also doing the seeds here. Oh, well, I guess the seed because nestwist.org doesn't properly support seeds. LOKENZE versus JATI. Just do like that so that you know which seed does belong to you. ANJING saying no SPS. Yeah, no, I believe that's down to nestwist.org being weird if you use a seed. So we will just do the seed here for LOKENZE versus CYLER. And yeah, exactly, you can't do the seeds properly on nestwist.org. Nestwist.org. I believe you even need to reset the seed. LOKENZE versus CYLER. What did I say? Oh, put in. Oh, my bad. Yes, of course, it is CYLER and not JATI. Okay, this is now how it should be. Okay, so LOKENZE and CYLER are ready. Let's see how it is for ANJING. Okay, ANJING says like a 5 to 10 minute break. Does work out for me, so I would say we can resume at 14 local time, not local time UTC, 14:00 UTC, which is in 7 minutes we can start the playoffs. So we're gonna have a short break here before, just to get everything into like simulcast and stuff like that. So see you again at 14:00 local time. I believe I can do resume at like in, and then I don't do a countdown to a specific time. Boom, boom. This should. Okay, so welcome back to the match scene. It is now 14 UTC, which means the 5 to 10 minute break that Anjing asked for is over. And we are ready to go for the matches, which are Anjing versus JATI and LOKENZE versus CYLER. You have seen all of them warm up. LOKENZE and Anjing both got a max out at about the same score, 106 and 104, so yeah, quite similar in terms of the score that they got, while JATI got quite higher of a top score than CYLER did, which is how JATI ended up in seed 3 compared to CYLER's C4. And I can see that JATI, LOKENZE and CYLER are all ready to go, which means we are just waiting for Anjing here to be back as well. Anjing saying gold, which could mean that he is ready. Yes, he is, so let's start the semifinals here. It's a 3, 2, 1 Tetris. And the games have started. And therefore there was a bit of music delay, as we love it. But yeah, okay, so we have JATI starting first. We have LOKENZE saying ooh. And I don't really see why. It looked fine to me. Like, seed is correct, level is correct. I don't know for sure. Of course, same here on CYLER side. And JATI not playing any seeds here. Same for Anjing, as Anjing here is just playing the standard Tetris. JATI getting the Tetris in, and so is Anjing here. Anjing needs to burn a few lines. JATI will have to burn a few lines as well, so both players at the top in a bit of a cleanup situation, while CYLER and LOKENZE are both currently clean. CYLER's getting a bit high now in terms of the stack, but is he getting the pieces needed? That J piece, L piece to the left could be deadly. Let's see, he needs something over, doesn't get anything over, of course. Is topping out at 4-7, which means that we have quite a quick No. 1-0 for LOKENZE. So it is 1-0 LOKENZE after the unfortunate high misdrop here for CYLER. Both players are ready to go in, so let's not wait. And let's just start their second game in 3, 2, 1 Tetris. Actually, can I switch over to... Ah, I can, perfect. See, maybe I will have to switch over to Anjing versus JATI. LOKENZE versus CYLER finished early. LOKENZE saying also the EU was because I started with no seed and accidentally for a second. Oh, yeah, that's just stuff happens. I thought, it was something major. We have Anjing and JATI both at similar scores. Anjing just got one more Tetris in now, which has increased to a Tetris lead now, and JATI is in a still cleaner position, so JATI is managing to survive, but is also slowly but surely falling behind Anjing here, as Anjing is clean and just go for, nice Tetrises. Okay, so CYLER and LOKENZE are both clean, getting Tetrises. JATI is semi-open, or was semi-open, got a triple in, and can now try to clean up the center. He had a bar dependency there, and that is a Tetris for JATI. JATI at 196, versus 247 here for Anjing. A nice position for Anjing. About 60k ahead in a clean board, while Yati's board, yeah, it's just in trouble. CYLER also now on a dirty board, which means LOKENZE's lead, or like, could try to chase down CYLER's lead, but no, CYLER's ready, and Anjing misdrops that OP's to the left. That O to the left means Yati is in a chase down. He needs 251, and this Tetris does it. So we now have 1-0 for Yati. Unexpected 1-0, I have to say. But yeah, we can see that the LPs just didn't go over to the left on Anjing's side, and then OPs on top, which has led to topping out, and Yati being 1-0, and game 2 might start soon. In the bottom match, it is 178 to 36. So at that point was about a 2.5 Tetris lead for CYLER. It's once again that lead for CYLER, and even one Tetris higher of a lead in, as LOKENZE needed to burn a few lines here. So yeah, this is nice game-wise for CYLER. In the upper match, we can see that Yati is ready, so we're just waiting for Anjing to be ready as well for their game 2. And LOKENZE as well as CYLER are about halfway done at level 18. We have like a 500 and 600k pace for these players. So let's start game 2 upper in 3, 2, 1. Tetris. So both matches are going now. The only question that we have is, how will the matches end? Will Anjing be able to win this game? Will Yati be able to win this game again? Let's see. All the players have started. Or like the two players at the top, I should say, of course. Yeah, Yati had a bit of a lag there. Not too bad, just a small lag. Yati is a bit high here and didn't get the bar over to the left. There's still a slight chance. Nicely done off the bar. Ooh, that was looking really dangerous, but Yati got the bar over, gets one Tetris in, and is now doing slight cleanups as he has a small hole in this deck, but now go for one high Tetris. So yeah, let's see how Yati's game will evolve here, as Jedi is saying Yati back from the dead. Yeah, it looked quite dead here for a few seconds, but it has worked out nicely. And CYLER transitioning into 19545, getting the next Tetris in. Oh, that JP's here for CYLER, it's a bit dangerous. Let's see what CYLER can do on 19 here. A nice small burn. Clean once again. Ooh, early shifting that bar here for CYLER, could still get out of the situation here. But this is now going to be once again quite dangerous. He's currently ahead of LOKENZE by about 50k though. Does get the next bar over for a small burn, nice. Amazing 19 survival here by CYLER, by the way. also getting in a new high score for the day. Yes, CYLER just is able to survive. Is nearly cleaned up once again. Just needs a few burns, but he is in a clean stack situation, so should be totally possible. As you can see, is open once again. Amazing survival by CYLER. So CYLER and JATI definitely showing us how survival looks like. While yeah, ANJING and LOKENZE are trying to show us clean Tetris. But JATI actually had once again, we have 222 for ANJING, 322 for JATI, so JATI is about 100k ahead of ANJING here currently, while CYLER is high. This could be too high for CYLER. Here he's burning, he doesn't get the burn time today, didn't get any chances to burn here, which means LOKENZE wins game 2, and it is now 2-0 for LOKENZE. In the upper match, JATI is currently in a bit of a higher situation, is getting a few pieces in to start the burns. Yes, slight burns are happening here on JATI's side, but it's just quite high. Open for the burn time, perfect. And then got a bar into Tetris, nicely done. And CYLER asking for the seed, if it's gonna be O2, I'm pretty sure it should be O2 now. But let's just check. Wait, O2 or O1? O2, yeah. Yeah, O2, exactly. I just had to think here for a second. And both players are ready. So let's start game 3 between them. 3, 2, 1, Tetris. While ANJING and JATI are close to level 19, just a few more lines left before the transition. And JATI looks like he's gonna try to get a Tetris in, which has now led to a bit of a dirty stack. Still acceptable. Oh, but this is no high. There were a few shadow burns. Like, you assume there's gonna be burn, but it just doesn't happen. Yeah, bar doesn't go over to the left side. So ANJING is in a slight chase down, which is fulfilled. And it is 1-1 between ANJING versus JATI now. 1-1, so you could say the comeback of ANJING has now started. While LOKENZE and CYLER, yeah, early on, quite close. JATI's saying, I'm playing so right now, man. I'm not even playing like I have a maxed out. He sometimes set plays like that. And luckily this is a one-time event and doesn't affect, for example, your CTL TNP performance. Like if you lose too much there, you get demoted. That doesn't really happen here, which makes it a bit nicer. Yeah, JATI is ready to go for game 3. Let's see how it is for ANJING here. ANJING is also ready, so let's start their game 3 here in 3, 2, 1, Tetris. Yes, LOKENZE needs to win this game in order to sweep CYLER. And if LOKENZE manages to sweep CYLER, then it's also a over for CYLER here. CYLER is a bit high currently, so there's gonna be some cleanup that he needs to do. Is getting amazing pieces here and getting them exactly to where they need to be. Yeah, nice straight burns here for CYLER. And is open into Tetris for CYLER. And one more for CYLER. CYLER now in the lead against LOKENZE once again. We had the situation before, which means that this is not guaranteed for CYLER to get into win, but it's nice if you're ahead by Tetris or so. You of course want to get in as big of a lead as possible and to CYLER's position, because at least today CYLER hasn't been able to play that strongly on 19, whereas LOKENZE showed that they are capable of doing so. So yeah, that's kinda where CYLER wants to be as aggressive on 18 as possible. In the upper match, JATI also had against ANJING, just as we had before in the last game. There was like a 100k lead at some point for JATI. And now it's about a 70, 80k lead here for JATI. And one more Tetris to JATI. I mean, this so far looks like mostly clean games. There has been some, slight stuff, but all in all, nothing too major. The exciting part between LOKENZE and CYLER is just coming up, as we have 339 for 70 and are quite close to the transition. This could be CYLER's comeback against LOKENZE, depending on how this game will go. This at least means that LOKENZE will have to do a large chase down on 19. CYLER's board also looked nice until a second ago, basically. Now is, hey, at least not misdropping that bar, not getting it over means LOKENZE is in a chase down, needs about 100k to catch up. And yeah, JATI versus ANJING. 234, 333, which means about 100k lead here to JATI. ANJING is... TP is not exactly sure, small over. Okay, bar does go over. Ooh, nice here for ANJING. That also looked somewhat dangerous here. And Tetris for JATI, nice for JATI. ANJING, in the meantime, just slowly but surely burning here. Which means JATI can increase the lead again. Whereas LOKENZE still in the chase down, needs about 30 to 40k. Goal is 505. And ANJING tops out at 267, which means in an unsurprising, at least seed-based way, like the performance in balls, JATI wins game 3. It is 3-1. Next up, match point for JATI. And this is honestly quite exciting. ANJING saying, whoa, WTF was that seed, Holy Droughts. You have to play about Holy Droughts for quite a long, like a lot to, be comfortable around a ton of droughts. Droughts are just something that you have to be quite used to here in NES Tetris. But yeah, it is what it is. And LOKENZE manages to sweep against CYLER here. So LOKENZE will play against CYLER against the winner of ANJING vs JATI in the finals. LOKENZE has a guaranteed spot in the finals. This is where this makes. Okay, I was just confused a bit about one of the scenes here, but this should be good for our 2-player scene now. As we have ANJING on the left, JATI on the right, and as you can see, JATI just playing amazing Tetris here now, mulling it out, trying to, you know, get a long game, and none of the warm-up games were that long into 19, so it makes a lot of sense that JATI is trying to get a full 19 game in. Yeah, the next game could be the last game. If JATI manages to win game 4, JATI will be in the finals against LOKENZE. And yes, LOKENZE is saying JATI back in form. Exactly. Maybe JATI can even get a max out in. In general, just, you know, a clean game here by JATI on 18 and 19, showing us what JATI can do, and that qualification isn't all there is when it comes to how a game goes. Man, one of the green dots in JATI's area here just looks so off to me. It looks like there's a green pixel in my monitor, but no, that's just part of the background? Question mark? I'm not fully sure where that's coming from. Is that part of... yeah, it's probably actually part of the background that's just somehow there. It looks weird, but don't worry, it's not on your screen. That's part of the layout. And LOKENZE is saying, come on, you got this. Yeah, there's not that much more required until the max out, and it has been achieved. Third max out of the stream, GG's. And yeah, actually a higher score than ANJING got in the qualifications. And actually, I believe about the highest score in total. I don't remember LOKENZE's exact score, but it was a A6 something, so yeah. JATI getting in the highest score in general. Yeah, it was A6 something, so GG's on JATI. And yep, mulling is totally fine, ready to go. And next up is game 4 between ANJING versus JATI. JATI and ANJING both saying that they are playing bad currently. Hey, both of you got a max out in today, so I'd say that's totally acceptable. Let's see if JATI can win this game, or if ANJING will be able to force the decider. We're just waiting on ANJING to get ready here. Here. LOKENZE also just typing grid here. Makes sense, and you can see the graph. And actually, a graph doesn't necessarily show that someone is rolling. Like Shuichi, for example, is rolling as a desk player. And that's, I believe, the only desk player I know who is playing desk with a glove. But hey, there's few exceptions, and that's kind of what matters the most. Okay, and we can see that ANJING is ready as well to start. Exclamation mark? 3? Okay, that's not what I wanted. So let's start game 4 in 3, 2, 1. Tetris. And you can see JATI start. You should also see ANJING start in just a few seconds. ANJING. All good on your side. Okay, looks like ANJING has just been starting a bit delayed. Maybe there was a shortcut of the screen, who knows. But yeah, so we have about a 6-7 line lead here by JATI in the opening compared to ANJING. But both got a Tetris and JATI got 2 and a few burns. So yeah, this is basically the standard opening that we always expect. Let's see how game 4 between these two players will go. I of course hope that we will be able to get one more max out, maybe even a double max out in. JATI once again also playing quite high, just trying to play as high and aggressive as possible. Definitely makes sense quite often. Because the more aggressive you play, the more points you at least potentially can get. It always does depend on how the pieces fall down, because sometimes when you play aggressive, the pieces that you're required just don't fall down. Yeah, let's see how that will go. $128, $157. So we have about okay. So we have about a Tetris lead for JATI again, but JATI has played at this point 12 more lines, so it's about a 2 Tetris pace lead for ANJING. Nice position for ANJING, at least in terms of what he can get in theory, and especially now that JATI needs a bar for column 2. Got the bar 1 piece to date, as it is basically always. And yeah, JATI is just in quite a long cleanup here, so somewhat what ANJING said before, you get a max out and you just play somewhat badly afterwards. Yeah, just happens really often. We get a good game, and yeah, then you just play badly. Yeah, at about 90 lines for JATI, so level 90 is not too far away. We have about an 80k lead here to ANJING in points, and of course a massive lead in terms of pace. The question kinda is, how big will the lead be at the 19 transition? Because of the 19 transition, we can see both at basically the same. You can also see that JATI quite unhappy about the slight misdrop here. So that means just a bit more burning. On the positive side, ANJING also needs to burn a few lines. Not really many, but a few lines. And every single line that ANJING needs to burn here is good for JATI, as that basically means that JATI could catch up in terms of pace and points. Next set was going to ANJING. Yeah, 419, 337. As I said, quite a big lead here for ANJING. ANJING now needs to win a double that the OPs is in front of, well, on top of the wall again. And it's only a double, but if that happens often enough, oh, slight misstep of JATI, but does work out nicely getting the OPs afterwards, so it didn't really matter. But that's also one of the things that NES Tetris player. Small mistakes like that just happen quite often, so you need to be able to resist the emotions that come from it. That's why there's also the whole nerves and a factor for the newbies in the finals meme. And JATI's queen goes once again. 390 transition, so 390 transition quite high. Does get the bar over Tetris for JATI. One more Tetris for JATI once again for 39. Oh yeah, 390 transition for JATI, and it's gonna be like maybe a 540. Okay, 520 transition, so a 130k transition lead here for ANJING, which is like 4 Tetrises lead for ANJING that JATI needs to catch up on 19 speeds. This is of course possible. Optimally for JATI, ANJING tops out somewhat soon, especially as JATI couldn't play aggressive here during the transition afterwards, and yeah, just needs to find a way to get points in. LOKENZE asking if this is for ELO. I am quite sure that basically all games played in NTSC are for ELO. Like if a match happens officially, it's normally always ELO. But yeah, this is quite an uphill battle this game here for JATI. Witz is ready. Does get 2 bars, one of them going into the Witz, the other one into a different bar dependency. But yeah, 585 JATI, 666 and 695 for ANJING. Just a massive lead here for ANJING in points and pace. Has played 2 or 3 Tetrises less, depending on when exactly the Tetrises do fall down. Oh, ANJING got the 2V spin here. That could, be a nice thing for JATI, depending on how long ANJING needs to clean up. But it looks like ANJING is able to just play so efficiently. Yeah, open once again. This didn't really matter too much here for ANJING. Oh, and JATI missed to bring one more piece. But yeah, 775, 784. JATI at least now has the point, or had the point lead, but pace, as you can see, 26, 27, 206, 217 lines. It's just a massive pace lead here for ANJING. Unless ANJING does something really stupid, but no, JATI does that. But yeah, this means 2-2-2. On the positive side, of course, that means that JATI still has one more chance, as this is only a decider now. Decider between ANJING and JATI. So maybe JATI can win game 3. I mean, so far it's basically just been game for JATI, game for ANJING, game for JATI, game for ANJING. So based on that, the next game also should go to JATI. Let's see if that will happen. Yeah, I was saying the Maui be 1.4. I mean, it's quite nice. What you delivered in some of these games. And mistakes just happen. I would never say you played few good games here. And Yeah, there were 30 for Anjing. One final game between Anjing and JATI here in the semi-finals. Whoever wins this will make it to the finals against LOKENZE. We have the ready by JATI, so we're just waiting for Anjing to get ready here. I see a yeah in the chat, so we're just waiting for the word that starts with an R. And there's the ready, so start the final countdown. It's 3, 2, 1, Tetris. Players have started. So once again, JATI is better in terms of the amount of lines played. So let's see how JATI and Anjing will perform here. Tetris does go to both of them here. JATI gets the perfect 2 J pieces for his 2 white well in the center. We get the next Tetris here to Anjing, 143, 143, nearly the same points, neck and neck, same lines, next Tetris to JATI, so JATI is now ahead of Anjing here. Anjing doing some slight turns as the bar doesn't fall down in time on Anjing's side. Tetris close to well, just one piece before the bar once again here, and barely getting the O piece to where it needs to be. Somewhat dangerous, but allowing JATI to get ahead in terms of points, as we have 152, but like 155 now versus 214. And next Tetris we're going to Anjing as well as a nice spin. JATI is currently playing one high, and decent mic experience works out quite nicely. We're about halfway done of level 18 in this final game between these two players. As you have small burns to 36, 3, 31, about 100k lead here for JATI. Exactly what he wants. Being a bit ahead is always just basically where you wanna be. And we have one more Tetris here going to JATI. 289, 380, so yeah, 90k lead now to JATI, but Anjing also played a bit more in lines, so it's Yes, 9200 KD here for Yati, just as we had before. One more Tetris here going to Anjing, so Anjing now at 336. Yati finally down to the bottom, but needs to clean up one more line here. Has cleared up, nice. Next Tetris are going to Anjing. As we're now at about 100 lines played. So it's not too much more until level 19, where I'd say, yeah, this game will most likely end in level 19, like this match even. But maybe the players can once again get to level 30, specifically in that case, of course, it was Anjing. Maybe Anjing and Yati can both go to level 30 here. Let's see. Next step is going to Yati, 569. Next step is to Anjing, 438, now 461. So yeah, same lines now, and we have a 130k lead here to Yati. Nice game for Yati. Should be a 600k transition. And 488 transition here for Anjing. While Yati is still waiting on maybe go, yeah, still trying to go for the final. That was quite aggressive here by Yati just for the transition, 618. So 124k lead here for Yati in the transition. Still gonna say amazingly great creative Yati in this game. Let's definitely look at what Yati can do against Anjing and Anjing against Yati here. About today speaking, Anjing has been playing more consistent in 19, but Yati also showed us amazing before. Both guys are getting quite high here. Anjing is getting a few nice burns in his open once again. Let's keep in mind also that, oh, Anjing is Hyper Tapper and didn't get the SPs over. What to say, Anjing is Hyper Tapper does have a disadvantage, of course. But yeah, that's it for Anjing. Yati won game 5 and it ends in 3-2-2, and Yati makes it to the final against LOKENZE. And welcome in the chat to Peter saying GG's Stacker. Oh, I also did it with a dupe. We have Anjing in 1. Where can we place? I believe it's actually easier to just put Yati into where CYLER was before. That would be easier. I can do here. Do this. Names and CYLER do Yati. Yeah, so let's now focus back on Yati as I prepared the next match already. Okay, also there's gonna be a decision for Yati if he wants to continue playing or if he wants to do a small break before his finals against LOKENZE. Can Yati go for a second max out? Could realistically speaking be a 1.1 and maybe even, okay, yeah, I want to say maybe even a 1.2, but the small misdrops here make that somewhat unlikely unless there's a lot of 29 play. 1.1 still possible. Not gonna say likely again, just possible. A67 for Yati. Only about 30k to go, which is definitely possible for Yati, as we know. Need something for column 10. 1.1 for Yati. Well played here. Getting the first 1.1 of today's stream. And yes, so Yati topping out at 1.1. And next up we have our finals. As well. So next up is final between LOKENZE and Yati. Yati, do you want to have a 5-minute break or just continue playing? If you want to continue playing, then you can just start your match. Okay, so then you can just start your match versus LOKENZE, as you have LOKENZE versus Yati. Okay, Yati left, so I guess we're gonna have a short break now. Okay, Yati's saying yes, PS. I'm gonna say yes, PS is realistic, as LOKENZE and CYLER used SPS before, so it's 2 SPS between the two of you as well here. And here LOKENZE is saying yes to yes, PS. Perfect. That means next up, final. LOKENZE Seed 1 versus Yati Seed 2. Yati just got 2 max out in the last game. The last match, and that means finals are starting in 3, 2, 1, Tetris. Yati has started. LOKENZE should also start in just a few seconds. Yes, LOKENZE has also started. And let's see how these two will be able to perform in the finals. Can the qualification favorite LOKENZE win? And Yati, after getting max out in 1.1 and arguably now proper warm-up done, win against LOKENZE here. Whether he sweeps, reverse sweep, decider, or a 3-1, let's find out. There's quite a lot of different situations here. Let's find out. Next set was going to Yati. We have 91, now 114 for LOKENZE versus 114 for Yati. So it's basically neck and neck, or even the same score. Yeah, I mean, this is so far looking like quite a nice game. The 18 has been going well for these two players, so I don't expect that we will see any early top outs, at least based on, you know, the first seed. 260, 274 again. These players just efficient at 18. It's been a bit since I've seen these players play before. And I'm thinking if I've seen them play against each other before. I don't feel like I have. I'm pretty sure I haven't seen LOKENZE and JATI face off before. So this is a new matchup for me and maybe also for you in the chat. We also could, obviously we can't watch every single match that's out there. There's just so many going on. It's like one every couple of days. And you know about 89s, 400, 437. So nice close match here between these players. You have a Tetris and some change lead currently going on for JATI. And LOKENZE has 2 small holes in the chat, but we saw not in this deck, but we saw earlier when LOKENZE faced off against CYLER that LOKENZE is amazing on level 19 as well. So the bit of difference that we have now could be changed quite quickly on 19. Let's see. 514, 586. JATI looking like getting a mid 600k, maybe even high 600k here. Amazing game for JATI. LOKENZE also quite nice. 515 here. I mean, man, this is exactly what we want in a finals, you know. 2 players who can go all the way score-wise. Yep, we have some more slap burns here happening on LOKENZE's side. So LOKENZE is not getting as high of transition scores wanted, and JATI is quite high in the transition. Open once again. 650 transition for JATI. 650 is such amazing, but LOKENZE also quite high here. Does get an Explorer over into Tetris, so 546 for the 100k lead here in the transition for JATI. But JATI was able to go for Tetrises, while LOKENZE is in a bit of a troublesome position, you could say. 556, 737. Just look at JATI's score, 800k. I mean, earlier was like, yeah, LOKENZE could catch this up quite quickly on 19, but probably no way. JATI is just playing so efficient here. I mean, 846 in level 22, 874 now in level 23. I mean, this could be a max out on like level 24. It's somewhat like, not even somewhat, it's just impressive what JATI is showing here. Okay, next set was to JATI, 935. You can get 3 more here, level 24. close the well just a bit. So, yeah, burning needs to happen, but over 200k DT on level 24 and 23 respectively. This is... Oh yeah, as Jedi said, this is insane, definitely. Especially as Yati is just running away a bit. Yeah, max out for Yati on level 25. Quite nice and early max out here for Yati. And as Jedi is saying, Yati should just go for VB. Yes, VB is like a 1.4. Which could still be possible. Yeah, also basically a 300k DT now, 250k DT to Yati. So Yati can just stay as aggressive as he wants, kinda. As he is so far ahead and there's so little left. Yati is... Unless LOKENZE can do the 29 of LOKENZE's life, it's gonna be a win for Yati here. You have the 29 on a C. 29 on a C for Yati, wow. GG's on the 1.2 to Yati. Amazing duel played here. LOKENZE. I mean, also a nice score, but there's... This simply does not compare. Yati also saying that was like 60 plus pass on transition. Sometimes you just get seats like that. But yeah, this was game 1 going to Yati. We still have at least 2 more games left to go. And this also still is any player's game. They are ready to start game 2 in 3, 2, 1, Tetris. But yeah, CYLER is also saying, but would need historical 29. Yeah, definitely would have required historical 29 for LOKENZE to catch up. Would have been possible, just not likely. So the players have started for a second time. Both open the match using a Tetris. In general, quite close currently, slightly tiered to LOKENZE, being a bit deeper into the game. Small misdrop for Yati of that Z piece shouldn't matter too much. As you can see, 98, 77, so water Tetris lead here probably for LOKENZE. Small early lead here. Nice position. Especially taking into consideration that Yati is quite high. Bar to the left hang on Yati's side. No. Can Yati still clean this up? Nope. Elba piece doesn't go over fully to the left. There was a chance, but it sadly doesn't happen, which means 1-1. LOKENZE takes game 2, and next up is game 3. Let's hope that game 3 will be a nice long game once again. That's what all of us hope for. Yati is ready. Let's see how about LOKENZE. Yeah, LOKENZE also saying nah and posting a sad emoji in the chat. And Yati's saying, wait, hold on. Yeah, sure. Let's have a quick toilet squirt break here. So we will continue after a quick toilet break here by Yati, which could be just a few minutes. Like 1, 2 or so. Or well, not, maybe not seconds, but like 2 or 3 minutes. But yeah, Yati, you know, the last 3 games maxed out 1.1, 1.2. And it's been amazing game, potato game, amazing game, potato game, basically. So let's see if after this potato game, Yati can get, I guess now would be 1.3. Let's not put too much pressure, of course, on the next game. Or maybe LOKENZE will just play well again. I mean, LOKENZE played well in the warm-ups and during CYLER. And also in the first game here against Yati, of course. Let's see if the pace on LOKENZE will be able to overcome the pace of Yati in game 3. Yeah, many situations, as I said, how the games and matches can go. And looks like Yati is back. So let's see if the players are ready to go. We have Yati doing a bit of 29 warm-up now. Yati said earlier about missing quite a lot of taps, so 29 can help getting taps under control again. And it looks like this is what Yati is trying to do here. Okay, but you have the ready, so let's start game 3. In 3, 2, 1, Tetris. Tetris. Yeah, so the best of 5 is somewhat down to a best of 3 now. So far, the long games went in favor of Yati, and the short game went in favor of LOKENZE. So let's see if this will be a long game, a short game, or if the way the game goes does change. But yeah, so far I'd say the opening has been quite nice. Of course, LOKENZE focused on better than a few lines here to open up once again. But in general, 2 good openings. Nothing major, we are quite close in score, 99 and 117. Next Tetris to both players here. I mean, both players just closed, need to run a few lines here. Yati currently about 2 Tetrises ahead of LOKENZE here. 153, 192. JATI is getting a bit high here. Needs to clean up a few lines. Okay, it's getting some acceptable pieces. Not amazing, but good enough. Okay, next slide. Cleanups here on JATI side, which puts them open once again. And LOKENZE in the meantime, falling behind a bit. 168, 248. Next set is LOKENZE. Yeah, LOKENZE just couldn't capitalize on the burning that JATI had to do, especially being close at times himself. I believe. Oh, pronouns and me, I will make sure to quickly double check and not have any mistakes. Yeah, he perfect. Okay, that's good. Ooh, small TP sang here by JATI. This means JATI has a bit more cleanup to do. LOKENZE is quite high himself. Next set is going to JATI. But LOKENZE also opened once again, as we have 247 and 307. Or about a 60k lead here going in favor of JATI, as we are at about 99. That looks like game 1 could somewhat repeat itself, as so far it looks like we have a bit of a longer game. That once again looks like it could be going in favor of JATI. I feel like my microphone doesn't sit exactly where I want it to be. Maybe this is a bit better now. Next set was going to JATI. LOKENZE here at 322 versus 383 for JATI. Small burns going on LOKENZE's side, wanting to tug or spin, does get the spin, nice. And the Tetris into 347 versus 386 on JATI's side. Not the best pieces here on LOKENZE's side for a bit, but so far working out quite decently. Next set is going to JATI, as we are quite close to level 19. The transition is coming up. And as you know, transition means speed increase. We wanna be in a clean, low situation, and I'd argue both players' boards are at least decently clean and acceptably low, but JATI, okay, JATI just gets bar over perfect. Tetris for JATI, 464 transition for JATI. LOKENZE 415, not quite getting the Tetrises in that LOKENZE wants here. Which just means a bit more burning to do. But yeah, JATI is a bit high now. The stack specifically, of course, open once again, getting the bar. And Tetris for JATI might clean up the left side. Yep, left side cleaned up to go for the standard well. Of course, also could have tried to go for left well, but left well, yeah, let's just say it's not what you normally wanna go for. It's a nice adjustment by JATI. Also could go for Tetris now. Okay, no, it doesn't. It's not able to, sadly. And that means JATI is getting high, few missed drops. Topping out at 535. And that means that LOKENZE is now in a chase down. wants to have at least 536. So far the stack is clean. I'd definitely say it's possible, just needs one more Tetris, gets the bar. And that means 2-1 for LOKENZE. And next up is match point for LOKENZE. So let's see if LOKENZE can win the match or if JATI will be able to force the decider. And both players are ready, so let's not wait any longer and start game 4 in 3, 2, 1, Tetris. This could definitely be the last game between these players. And we can see LOKENZE has started. JATI has started. LOKENZE started getting a nice spin in. Yeah, so the openings for these players have been mostly nice. You can see the next set is going to JATI and LOKENZE. 54, 73, so a slight lead here in favor of JATI, which is now back to null as LOKENZE got the next Tetris. And so does JATI now. Yeah, all in all, decent opening into 18 the first. 30 lines, 125, 127. About where you wanna be score-wise. JATI does get at least the single tug, not the double tug, so as you can see the OPs would have been needed to be tugged twice to the left. Only happened once, which is where there's a small hole now, and JATI needs to clean this up, while LOKENZE is in a clean position here. And LOKENZE might overtake JATI in points in a few seconds. $223, $212, so LOKENZE overtook JATI. Okay, and LOKENZE is open as well now, while JATI just not really getting to where he wants to be. More and more small misdrops, or not misdrops but cleanups. As LOKENZE now is about a 50k lead. So nice position for LOKENZE. Ahead only needs to win this game. So yeah, nice. We're at 90 lines, and JATI... I mean, he does a lot of good stuff with his pieces, it's just that he can't really go for as much aggression as he wants to. On the positive side, though, of course, as you can see, neither is LOKENZE. It's actually back to a lead for JATI now of about a Tetris and some change. So, yeah, JATI is just still managing to play about as efficient here as LOKENZE. LOKENZE is 18, not where he wants it to be, definitely not. And we are about 20 lines away from level 19. Earlier I said that 19 could be the strong point of LOKENZE here, but it's also the strong point of JATI, so this is not an easy decision. Okay. LOKENZE needs to burn a few lines due to the 2 holes in this deck, while JATI is just continuing to play 1 high. You can play 1 high actually all the way to 39. It's just that you don't really want to, but you can, worst case scenario. And we can see 540 transition for JATI. Man, such a strong transition for JATI once again. You could argue that just like game 1, this is now a position where JATI is not guaranteed, but you know, quite likely to win the game and force the decider. So let's see what LOKENZE can do to catch up about 250k and overtake JATI here. Is it gonna be playing longer? Is it gonna be playing more efficiently here? Or maybe something completely different? Nobody knows. All we can do is wait for the players to show us their level 19 in this specific game, and maybe even 29. You can see JATI has a small hole in this deck. Can't go for a Tetris, but now needs to clean up a few lines. Basically same on LOKENZE's side though, and JATI was set up for an easier cleanup, as LOKENZE is now simply playing 1 high. But yeah, no, JATI didn't get the 1 piece that he needed, JP's dependency earlier. Bit more cleanup. So LOKENZE was able to get about a Tetris closer now. Now it's 635, 795. Slightly better position here for LOKENZE. But LOKENZE also has played a few lines less, so if you take that into consideration, it's 2 Tetrises, so like 60k. Yeah, then you have like, let's say 700 versus 828 estimated for the same lines. Because as you know, the amount of points you get is multiplied by the level that you are on. So being on a higher level does also mean getting many, many more points. JATI nearly set up for perfect clean, but of course not quite, and not getting the bar. It's always sad if you are set up for a perfect clear and then just don't get the bar that you need for a perfect clear. It doesn't do anything except give you some style points. And we are on level 27 for both players. JATI could once again go for 1.1. 1.2 would require about 100k on level 29. And looks like JATI is trying to at least force the 1.1. Now let's see. He didn't use the first bars to get ready. Now for triple setup. Yeah, and he doesn't get the bar in time. Is open once again. Gets the bar. 1.1 for JATI. Doesn't get the next bar over. So 1.1 for JATI. LOKENZE also would need a 1.1. Exactly a B16. B16 is now the goal for LOKENZE. Quite unlikely, but still possible. Let's see if LOKENZE has any chance of getting the 29 of his life here. I mean, so far, quite a nice burns here for LOKENZE. But yeah, not getting the LPs to where it needed to be. Topping out, which means we have 2-2. And decider between LOKENZE and JATI. One final game in this final match. Who will be able to take the game and take CTQuickly 2nd edition? We are waiting for the players to be ready, and once they are, we can enjoy the showdown. JATI is ready. LOKENZE is ready. And that means exclamation mark 3, 2, 1. Tetris. JATI is saying, oh, this is showing is how inconsistent I am. I mean, I would argue being able to get high scores at all is an amazing start. You know, consistency comes with practice, which means the more you play, the more consistent you should get. And like, you got a few good games in. You had like 5 max outs today, which is, I would say that requires consistency to get 5 max outs in about 15 games, which means like every 3rd game is max out. Of course, then you also have had quite a lot of, as for example, Miro is saying, potato games in between. Yes, those also happened, but I would say, if you talk about consistency, you should also look at it positively, not only in like the, I got a few bad games in, but also, hey, I got this and that many good games in. It's important to always look at both sides. So, final game in the finals. 92-51. So LOKENZE opening at about a 2 Tetris lead here versus JATI. Next few Tetrises going in. And here's the next Tetris going to LOKENZE. As we have 119 versus 100. So yeah, both players opening cleanly and aggressively. But yeah, so both players need to win this, and I would argue there's a bit more pressure now on LOKENZE, having lost the last game. And knowing that JATI can play amazingly well. And welcome to the chat to Cox Danny here. Nice to see you. Oh, JATI did a misdrop earlier. This is not looking too good here for JATI. Needs something for the left side. Bardask over. Nice, but hangs the LPs. And hangs the SPs. And that means LOKENZE is our winner. And as we are quite early, let's just do our winner to... I should of course also give you a CTQuickly winner player, but who is the player? I have team, which is thank you, okay. I have title. Here. course, the player, the winner is LOKENZE. And I can also just like the thank you. I don't know what to actually put in there, but thank you to, as you know, of course, Sir. Well, as you know, thanks to Sir Mesa, and to me, huge congratulations to LOKENZE for winning, and huge GGs, of course, also to all of the others who are playing, to JATI for the amazing games that he showed us. Yeah, so let's see if there's anyone we can properly rate. Oh yeah, we have a retro, but we also have like the Tetris category back. What was it again? It's Tetris. This one? Okay, no. So there's base mode, I can tell at least. Currently no Tetris stream going on. At least no NES Tetris stream. Is there any other Tetris stream? There's Kingsman. Okay. That means let's enjoy right over to Kingsman. Huge thanks for joining. Huge thanks for watching, playing, and everything. I hope to see you again next edition. Have a great time. Goodbye.